It is estimated that 300,000 American children are sex trafficked each year in the United States. Sadly, victim identification is only at 1%. But even when one of these precious children is rescued from this abuse, there are less than 150 beds throughout the United States for child victims of sex trafficking. We live in a nation where 1 in 9 girls will be sexually abused under the age of 18. This makes them extremely vulnerable to predators.
I was sexually abused when I was in the 5th grade, and I was really young. I wasn't really sure of what had happened. It was a one-time event, thankfully, and I really didn't know until a few years later. But when I was a kid, all I knew was that wasn't okay, and I just left it aside because I was like, okay, I don't know what happened. It's gone. Move on. Old person. It was done by an older man, and this person was my tutor.
Sex trafficking is the commercial sexual exploitation of an individual through force, fraud, or coercion. But whenever a child is used for commercial sex, whether that be prostitution or child pornography, it is considered sex trafficking because children, they're inherently vulnerable.
It really affected my whole life. I was really broken, and I didn't realize that I have a dead meat inside of me, attracting all these flies, all these bad situations of these bad people, and I just couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And yes, I was broken. I was really in pain, not aware of it. I was numb, and I really destroyed my whole life. I went through stages where once I realized that really happened to me, I became in shock, and then I became in denial, and then I went through the stage of grieving, and I just felt like I needed to talk to someone, and I talked to a friend that went through something like that, and I don't know, I felt like anger, and I felt like this is injustice, and I didn't notice that I needed help.
So often, we feel like there are challenges within our communities that are insurmountable. But the reality is that sexual violence, and more specifically, child sexual abuse, is preventable. It is preventable when all members of the community choose to actively be aware of some of the ways that we can help prevent it.
Now that times are changing, people want to help. And I think if you need help, and if you are going through something else, even if it's like the biggest secret possible, I'd suggest that you talk to somebody you trust. Just say it. It doesn't matter if it's like in the most vaguest of terms. Just let it out and make sure you just put it out there so you could, you need help. You can't do this alone.
In my case, since it was kind of really severe, and I feel like I need a supernatural intervention, and I reach out to God.
When we have a million eyes on an issue, it allows it to be solved. But it's when we allow it to exist in the dark that it continues to spread. So join me. Bring this issue out of the darkness and into the light. Let it be an issue that we can say was eradicated. I want to see child sex trafficking eradicated over the next decade. Will you help me?